This is the MTN 9 o'clock news.
And good evening. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday. I'm Andrea Lutz. Tonight, across the state of Montana, Montanans are losing thousands of dollars after paying scammers claiming to be with the travel site Expedia. We're going to tell you what to look out for. Plus, a lightning-caused fire burns a historic Yellowstone fire. Look out to the ground. The details and more of those photos are ahead. But first, as the Democratic presidential candidates take the stage a second time to square off in a debate, Governor Steve Bullock will be joining them. The Democratic National Committee says Governor Steve Bullock is among 20 presidential candidates to take the stage in Detroit just a little bit later this month. He's replacing California Representative Eric Swalwell, who dropped out of the race. Bullock missed the cut for the first debate in June. Well, today he says he's excited to add his voice to the debate. A drawing Thursday will determine what night Bullock will appear. As Bullock's campaign is set to get a boost by getting on that debate stage, MTN chief political reporter Mike Dennison taking a closer look at the money behind Bullock's presidential run.
Governor Bullock launched his long-shot presidential campaign on May 14th, and in the next 7 weeks, he raised $2 million to finance his venture onto the national stage. As you might guess, most of that money is not coming from Montana. Among his itemized donations, $367,000 came from Californians, another $236,000 from New Yorkers, and $191,000 from the Washington, D.C. corridor. That's 38% of his total. And from Montanans, they gave him at least $276,000, or 13% of his total. But about 1/5 of his money, $464,000, is from small donations, which are not required to be identified on federal reports. It's likely some of that money came from Montana as well. He's also had some all-star donors, including Jeff Bridges, who gave him $500, and Jane Fonda, who chipped in $1,000. And before he launched his campaign, Bullock also raised another $2 million through his Big Sky Values Political Action Committee, which funded his travels and politicking around the country for the prior 2 years. More than half that money, just over $1 million, came from people in 3 states, California, New York, and Connecticut. Montanans also made contributions to this PAC, but not all that much, $158,000 at a minimum, and probably some more among the unidentified small donors. Most of that PAC money was spent on travel, donations to other Democratic campaigns, and consultants, including more than $400,000 to a pair of strategists who helped him raise the money. Governor Bullock still had $1.5 million unspent in his presidential campaign account 2 weeks ago. The question becomes, how much money does he need to stay in this race, and can he raise it? Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
All right, and Mike will also examine the source of the early money in Montana's U.S. Senate and U.S. House races for 2020. That's going to be tomorrow night. Tonight, questions remain after armed federal agents carried out 2 separate raids on a chiropractic business in locations in Bozeman and Belgrade. MTN's Cody Boyer was there when the raid was happening.
That's right. Now, we've been here since early this morning around 7:30 as federal agents and other agents from the IRS have been going inside and out of the Pro Chiropractic Center here north of Belgrade. We also are learning that they've done the same thing in Bozeman. Not many details have been released at this time so far, but we did learn from one of their actual agents that came out and spoke with me, even gave me her card, saying that they're here on official business, nothing more. We also learned from the Gallatin County Sheriff, who also responded and helped federal agents while they were out here, that they were here to serve papers. Now, the investigation has continued. We don't know too many other details other than that. The guard that has been standing in front of the chiropractic center has been standing there pretty much all day.
In part of a statement sent to us, Pro Chiropractic owner John Wilhelm says, quote, "We do not wish to jeopardize the ongoing investigation and therefore cannot comment more at this time. As soon as we started getting information, and if you are following our KBZK app, we immediately sent out a push notification with the latest details."
We will continue working to bring you the latest information on this as well, including when we hear back, hopefully, from the IRS. In Belgrade, Cody Boyer, back to you.
All right, and Cody did reach out to the IRS special agents. Of course, we'll update you when we do hear back a little bit more about that case. The Montana Supreme Court denies a woman access to files related to the death of her brother as a part of a civil wrongful death suit. John Kreit's death remains unsolved from years ago. Last year, his sister Connie requested files from investigators, but Lewis and Clark County said releasing files could jeopardize an ongoing investigation. Well, Montana Supreme Court justices agreed. Kreit's body was discovered dismembered near McDonald Pass. A Billings mom faces up to 10 years in prison for allegedly leaving her 1- and 6-year-olds with a drunk stranger. Prosecutors say 30-year-old Brianda Romero left her kids with the stranger when she stopped to buy cigarettes. An hour and a half later, Romero still wasn't back, so the stranger called authorities. Police eventually found Romero passed out in a bedroom of her home. She told police the kids were with her sister or in bed. A lightning fire in Yellowstone National Park reduces the historic Mount Holmes fire lookout to charred debris. So take a look at these new photos in from Yellowstone. Officials say during a severe storm yesterday, lightning struck and it burned the lookout to the ground. The fire also damaged a park radio repeater. The fire lookout is located southwest of Mammoth Hot Springs and north of Madison Junction. Tonight, fire officials are still searching for a cause of a large fire at the Remax building in downtown Kalispell. Crews were dispatched early this morning. They fought that fire for 4 hours. Thankfully, no one was injured, but there is significant smoke and water damage to the building. Fire investigators are working to determine why and when it started. Thousands of dollars are stolen from Montanans in an ongoing Expedia travel customer service scam. And tonight, those with the Better Business Bureau are giving up some new details surrounding the trap. Victims calling a fake customer service line for Expedia to change their travel plans are told to instead purchase gift cards to do so. Several customers already lost thousands of dollars just within the past few days.
Large, any company that's reputable is not going to ask you to pay a fee to get your money back or to make a change to your reservation, but they're also not going to ask for an unusual form of payment. They're not going to say that you have to buy them gift cards to make a change. They're not going to probably tell you to wire money in order to cancel a reservation or get a refund.
The Real Expedia company is a Better Business Bureau accredited business with an A+ rating. Well, the type of weather that we see for the rest of the month could decide what type of fire season we see here in Montana. Typically right now the fire danger is high, but that's just not the case so far this year. There's still plenty of green, and fire experts say that's a good sign. But a below average fire season doesn't mean we'll see less smoke. As of last Thursday, 4% of Montana was still considered to be in a drought, especially in northwest Montana. Vandalism in some of Butte's parks is prompting police to start locking up parking lots at night. The plan is to install heavy gates at the Mount Con and Lexington mine yards. Last year, the Parks Department installed a gate to block traffic due to litter complaints, and since, many of those vandalism problems have stopped. Parks and Recreation will make a formal request to install the gates before the county commissioners. It's going to happen this week. A lack of affordable childcare is becoming increasingly hard for parents in Missoula. Childcare takes up roughly 17% of a family's monthly budget. Those with Missoula Childcare Resources say the solution is fully funded privatized childcare, but lawmakers would have to pass some legislation. So the Missoula Chamber says they might have a solution.
So worked with My Village. They recently became a member of the chamber, and they are bringing a business model for in-home child care as well, which is cool because it's bringing small businesses into Missoula and helping with the child care situation.
So over the last decade, Missoula lost 42% of in-home child care facilities. Former Billings School Superintendent Terry Valcke didn't stay retired for too long. Not 2 years after he stepped down from School District 2, he's off again onto a new adventure, this time in Africa. MTN's Jake.
Former Billings School Superintendent Terry Valcke is broadening his horizons from the Magic City to Africa. In October, Valcke starts work for the U.S. State Department as the Regional Education Officer for all of the African continent.
I'll go to about 20 to 21 schools a year. There are almost 40, so I see them every other year.
Now, this isn't your typical assignment for a 69-year-old retiree, but Valcke says you just never know when opportunity knocks.
We want to make sure that their education internationally meets the standards of students in public schools throughout the U.S.
Helping to influence the curriculum for thousands of American students abroad turns out to be an opportunity too good to pass up. A key part of Valcke's job will be to help line up funding and scholarships, as tuition for many of the private international schools can range from $15,000 to $30,000 a year.
Some of the schools around the world are 4,000 or 5,000 kids. Some are as small as 50 or 60. So there's needs all around, and to provide consultation and dollars when appropriate will make me feel good too as a professional.
Most importantly, though, Valcke says his wife Christy is also up for the challenge.
Yeah, we're excited. We're sad about leaving Billings. We love the community and the people, and certainly the support that we have for schools here.
In Billings, I'm Jay Cohn reporting for MTN News.
And it's going to be an exciting adventure for Terry Valcke. This is his second round in Africa. He worked as a superintendent at the American International School in Nigeria. Still to come on tonight's MTN 9 o'clock news, everybody loves a good old-fashioned Montana County Fair. We're going to get you ready for the Big Sky Country Fair. It's coming up, but first we're checking in with Bob, checking in on that weather. Bob.
Some of the warmest temperatures of the year so far for most of the nation, but it's not happening here. How come? Well, we have a nice little cold front moving through. We'll tell you what's coming our way for the rest of the week after the break.